Today I'm going to walk through 3 manifestation layouts in this video. I'm going to walk through a specific manifestor layout, a non-specific manifestor layout, plus a weekly layout to support your manifestation work. So this video is going to be great for anybody who's really into manifestation work. Maybe you have a manifestation journal and you're looking for some guidance or some layouts for that journal. But let me introduce myself really quick. I'm a certified project manager. I'm a Usui Reiki master. I'm currently obsessed with merge magic, and I once dressed up as Emma Frost and hung out with the Dark Elves at Gen Con. So before I get into the layouts, I really need to provide some context and give some credit to some creators. So first, I need to credit Idil Ahmed, who wrote an amazing book called Manifest Now. I read that book a few years ago, and it's been the cornerstone of the manifestation work that I do. Secondly, I would like to credit Lacy Phillips, who's the creator of the expanded podcast and To Be Magnetic. I will be using terms or concepts from both of these creators in these layouts. So before I get to the layouts, I also need to give you some context. So where am I getting this specific versus non-specific manifestor thing? Because a lot of the rhetoric around manifestation work is that you should get as detailed as possible when you're, writing down the things that you're calling in. And human design would tell us that we're not necessarily all designed to be super specific. And so if you're new to human design, in a nutshell, it's a system that was created in 1992. It's astrology adjacent. So what you do is you take your birth time, your birth date, your birthplace, you put it into a body graph calculator, which you can get for free. I will link one in the description of this video. And then you're going to get a body graph chart. And there's all kinds of information in this body graph chart. It tells your energy type, how you should engage with the world around you. It tells us something about your innate talents and gifts and purpose. But it also tells us how we manifest, how we're designed to manifest. So how do you know if you're a specific manifestor or a non-specific manifestor? If you're looking at the body graph chart that you generate, you're going to notice that there's 4 arrows at the top of the body graph chart, kind of around the head centers. And you're going to be looking at the arrow on the bottom right-hand side of the body graph chart. If your bottom right arrow points left, this means you're a specific manifestor. And this also means you likely thrive on the process of choosing what you want down to the little tiniest detail when you're calling in things. You probably know exactly what you need to be excited about when you're calling in your manifestations. So you are designed to be very specific. If your bottom right arrow points right, you are what they call a non-specific manifestor. So this means you're designed to be less controlling. So when you're calling things into your life, it benefits you to kind of take a step back, get a forest view, write, only the top 3 to 5 things that are important to you about the manifestation that you're calling in. You don't necessarily need to iron out the details of the experience because having to choose what you want likely feels very restrictive. So I'm going to go ahead and start showing you the layouts. So that's the specific versus non-specific manifestor in a nutshell. If you have any questions about these, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. So I have a extra large size moleskin notebook. I have the dotted grid pages, and I'm going to go ahead and start with my first layout. So it's going to be 2 pages. I'm going to do the specific manifestor page first. So the list over here, this is going to be the manifestation list for specific manifestors, and then this side is going to be another page that's all about identifying blocks and fears and actions that we can take. So I'm just going to use a pencil to start off, and at the top I'm just going to create a header. I'm going to extend it through both pages. And then next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create space for 4 different things that you might be wanting to manifest or call in.
if you have more than 4 or less than 4, you might want to rethink this layout and do things a little bit differently. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to count 12 down because there's about, I think it's like 47 lines on a page. And then I'm gonna do another line here because I'd like to create some separation. And I'm gonna do the rest all the way down. Okay, so the idea here is that this is going to be the list that you're calling in. If you're a specific manifestor, what's best for you is to be as detailed as possible, or as detailed as feels supportive to you. So the whole thing about being a specific manifestor is this energy of, I want this thing and I'm just going to go get it in this like healthy and balanced way. So if you can write everything down that really sparks excitement about the thing you're calling in, that's going to be really great. So I'm going to add the text for this in a minute. I'm going to move over to the other side though in pencil and get this side all worked out. So I'm basically going to turn this page into 3 different sections. The first is going to be, the top is going to be identifying blocks, fears, old habits, you know, the things that are holding us back. So I want writing space for that. And then I'm going to create space at the bottom of the page in 2 different columns. One is going to be a column on actions that we can take to release the old energies. And then the other column is going to be expanders that are needed. And I will talk about that in a second. So first I'm going to count about 24 squares down. I'm just going to create some separation here. And then to pull this into 2 different columns, I'm going to count about 18 across. So now I'm going to take a pen. This is a no bleed calligraphy marker, and I am going to trace these lines. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and write in here. So right here is the list. Things I am calling in. And you can say whatever you want there. It can be things I'm manifesting. And then there's enough space for 1, 2, 3, 4 items. And again, if you're a specific manifestor, I've left this kind of open because I really want the ability to free write and get all the details in that make you feel excited about the thing. On the next layout on this page, this is going to be identify blocks, fears, old habits, that are holding me back. And so this is a place to free write and to really identify. You can choose to do bullet points. You could choose to create some more columns. You can have some more separation if you have a lot. But the idea is it's a free space to really kind of brainstorm and try to really think about the things that are holding you back. This section is a list of the actions that you'll take to release the old energies. And then on this side, I'm using a term by Lacy Phillips called expanders or expanders needed. So what an expander is in manifestation, it is somebody who is already doing or has already had the success or who has already has the thing that you want. So the idea here is list the people in your life, whether that's people you actually know or people on social media who have the things that you like or want to call in, so that you can know that this is possible for you. It's all about expanding your mind and getting through the block that, oh, it's possible for other people, but it's not possible for me. Or you may need to find, if you don't have any expanders that you can think of, you may need to find expanders. So for example, maybe you need to find an expander who's successful at running their own business and they have come from a similar background as you. Or, you know, maybe it's an expander of somebody who has had success in, I don't know, fertility and has, you know, now gotten pregnant. Whatever it is, what are the expanders that you need to find or that you already have in your life that you can look to know that this thing that you're calling in is, or you're trying to manifest, is also possible for you. So that completes the specific manifesting layout. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to do this, the next layout, this page is going to be a little different, but this page is going to be the same. So I will move over to that next. For the non-specific focus manifesting layout, it's going to be somewhat similar to the previous, only there's a little bit more structure to help keep the non-specific manifestor kind of really focused. So for non-specific manifestor, what that means is that people who are non-specific manifestors probably don't like to necessarily have to get into the details of things. They like to remain open. For them, it might feel more supportive to think about the feeling of calling something in, to really, you know, to really not have all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed. Because for non-specific manifestor, the way you might know you are one is it might feel confining to have to provide so much detail. And it's much better or more supportive to the non-specific manifestor to kind of highlight the top 3 to 5 things that they really want and about what they're calling in, and then allow the universe to fill in the gaps for them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my heading. And as you can see, I've already duplicated the page from the previous layout. And what I'm going to do here, again, very similar. I'm counting down 12. Okay, and I'm going to outline and I'm going to set up the structure. Okay, so as you can see, I've listed a number for each manifestation you're calling in. Again, if you want more manifestations, you can add more squares or revise this a bit. And then again, for non-specific manifestor, you're looking to identify the top 3 to 5 things that are really important to you about the thing you're calling in. So that's why I have 5 areas here or lines here, that bullet points that you can fill those in. And then the other thing I'm going to add for this one is, how will I feel? Because even though you're a non-specific manifestor, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be clear about what you want. It just means that getting into the weeds of things is not probably going to be as beneficial for you. All right, so I'm going to add some color to this layout, and then I'll move on to the next layout, which is a daily. You can choose to use it as either a daily or weekly layout to support your manifestation work. So I walked through some very simple layouts just for setting, setting intention, listing the things that you're calling in, and then having some workspace and some free space in order to kind of think through blocks, think through expanders, things like that. The next layout is intended to support that work. So I originally drafted this as a daily layout, but it could also be a weekly one as well. But I'm going to have it on just one side of the page because it is just meant to be a one-page layout. So use it however is best for you. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to create a heading, and in this heading is going to be space for whether it's the day of the week or the week of the month. Next, I'm going to create some separation here by going down 1 square. And I'm going to count over 18 because basically I want 2 blocks here where I'm going to put the top 3 priorities that I'm going to be working on that relate to my manifestations. And then I'm also going to have a space for affirmations, which is a big, affirmations are a really big thing in the Manifest Now book. Then I want these to be rectangles, so I'm going to count down, and I want a little bit of space to write, so I'm going to do about 4 or 5 counts down, squares down. Next, I'm going to create a couple of columns where I would like to put to-do list because we all have the things that we just need to do. And then I also want to create a section for pings or crazy ideas, and I will explain what those are when I'm done with that section. So moving down 1 square to start the new columns. And these columns are going to be about 26 in length, 26 squares. And I've created some space for headings here, and I'll fill those out in a second. And this bottom spot, this is going to be, what does my free self want today? It's kind of a little journaling exercise. This is a phrase that Lacy will use with her To Be Magnetic work. And again, you can use this on a weekly or daily basis. All right, so now I'm going to fill this in with a calligraphy marker. It's no bleed. They are wonderful. Okay, so just gonna talk through this. There's space at the top for the day of the week or the week of the month, depending on how you wanna use this. There's space here for the top 3 priorities for the day. What are the top 3 things you need to do? And it's really effective if you can have them line up to things that are on your manifestation list. Affirmation, if you like affirmations or inspirational quotes, that can go here. To-do list can go here. Pings or crazy ideas. So this is a term that Lacy uses to describe these thoughts that pop in our head, or maybe things that kind of come in front of us from the universe that kind of show us the right way. So maybe like if you were calling in, for example, a treadmill, and you wanted to get a treadmill used, you know, maybe through Facebook Marketplace or some other social platform, and you want it to be a really good price. If you get a ping might be in that scenario, this thought pops in your head to check Nextdoor or to check another app to look, and then you go on and you find the treadmill you were looking for at the price range you wanted. Or it could also be a situation where you're just, you know, scrolling through Facebook and you see a neighbor who's selling a treadmill. Those are pings, those are crazy ideas. Those are pings and crazy ideas are kind of these things that are related to the manifestations we're calling in. And they're the things that kind of pop up to lead us to the right place to obtain those manifestations. And that can look totally different in different ways, but that's a really like basic example. And then what does my free self want today? And so this is I love answering this question every single day because it changes and it shifts. And I just think it's a really good reminder of the thing that we're going after, or the things that we're going after. So this concludes my layout for manifestation. If you have any questions, just let me know.